action. Before you launch a podcast in 2026, before you buy a fancy XLR microphone, before you buy that beautiful mic boom, before you buy the whole setup, the audio interface, new laptop, all the beautiful tech and equipment that's really exciting, even before you script episode one, I need you to hear this. The future podcaster you needs you to hear this right now. Because the truth is, most new podcasters quit before they ever get past their 10th episode. Not because they're not talented, not because they don't have something awesome to say, but because they started without answering three clarifying questions that determine everything about your podcast. And if you get these three questions right, your podcast becomes something you can stick with, grow, and be proud of a year, 2 years, or even 3+4 years from now. So let's make sure you're starting with the right foundation. So why do so many new podcasters quit? Not the first question, but something to think about here. Kind of set the stage for you. So what nobody tells you when you're thinking about starting a podcast is you're not just launching a show, you're building a commitment. And that commitment has to make sense in your life, with your schedule, with your bandwidth, with your personality, and with your energy that you can spend on it. And that commitment has to make sense in your life overall. The reason most people fade isn't the gear, it's not the tech, it's not the I didn't blow up fast enough. Granted, those are some reasons for some people. They get frustrated with the tech. They didn't blow up fast enough in their mind. They're wanting to be an overnight success. That's honestly not how it works. Mostly because they have the wrong success metrics for themselves, but that's a different video. It's this. They never got clear on why they were starting or who they were talking to. So the podcast becomes confusing, overwhelming, and easy to abandon. But that's not going to be you. You are going to start differently. So question one, why are you starting a podcast? And I don't mean any surface level answers. If that's the first thing that came to your head, let's think a little bit deeper. Um, we're not going to go with the it'd be fun or everyone has a podcast now, or I just want to share my thoughts. Those are fine, but they're not strong enough to keep you going in March when life gets busy or beyond your 10th episode. Your why needs to have teeth, something it can sink itself into, claws like my cat does, to sink into when she wants to grab something, when she wants to scratch into the side of the couch or whatever she wants to get into. It needs claws, it needs teeth. So here are four real reasons people start podcasts to actually stick. You want to build authority in your space, whether business, parenting, coaching, life coaching, spirituality, religion, economics, politics, right? You want to build authority in that space. You want people to see you as a trusted, reliable voice in that space. You want to build community. You want to gather people who think like you. You want to have people around you who are going through similar things. You want to help other people who are going through similar things to maybe you've already gone through. You want connection. You want to have conversations. You want to tell stories. You want to make an impact on people and their lives, and you want to help connect people to other people. That's awesome. Or you want a creative outlet that feels like an extension of who you are. Podcasts are a great way to get creative. So you have to pick one primary reason and just one. You can have multiple, but let's focus on just one for the sake of this video. Because your why determines your format, your schedule, your tone, and your long-term vision. And if you don't know your why, you're building on sand. You're not building on the strong foundation. You're not pouring cement. You're literally pouring sand into your foundation. And I don't think that's going to really work out long-term as you build this podcast house of yours. Question two, who are you talking to? Like right now, I'm talking to you, the person thinking, man, I really want to start a podcast in 2026. Sounds like a great idea. I want to do it to help my business, or I want to do it for myself, or I want to do it with a friend. I want to do it with a buddy of mine. This is a question that most new podcasters skip, and it hurts them. They think their show is for everyone, which means it connects with nobody. So instead, picture one single listener. And I've made this mistake where I'm thinking, oh, this show will connect with everybody. It's a variety podcast. It's for everyone. I listened to variety podcasts, quickly realizing these aren't for me. They say they're for everyone. I'm not everyone. I'm not part of the people they're talking to. I don't even think they know who they're talking to, honestly. So instead, picture one listener. What is their life like? What problems are they facing? What conversations are they hungry for? Why should they choose you out of the thousands of other people who are also fired up wanting to start a podcast to do the same thing you're wanting to do out of all the other podcasts that are already well established out there? There's a dad in his 30s trying to grow his business, trying to start something new. Maybe there's a woman out there rebuilding her life after a setback, a divorce, something just really tough that she went through. Maybe they're a creator who wants to get unstuck and you've been stuck and you've gotten unstuck and you feel like you have a successful way to go about that. Or maybe there's simply someone who wants to hear real talk, not fake rah-rah motivation from someone who was born with excellent genetics and never has had to actually work really hard in the gym with a diet to maintain a awesome physique. When you create for one person, your show becomes meaningful for thousands. And the reason that is because there's thousands of those one people you're talking to, millions even of that one person you're talking to. If your podcast is about cats, but people aren't gonna wanna listen. I'm gonna listen because obviously I have a cat. But beyond that, people aren't gonna listen because 'cause they're not there for that kind of content. So it's not for everyone. You gotta niche down. Inside of my coaching program, we spend a whole week, if not more, designing the listener profile. That's what I call it. So everything else clicks. But I want you to at least answer this for yourself today. So who are you talking to? Question three, third question. This is probably the most important one in my opinion. What role will this podcast play in your life? This one, nobody talks about. I wish I would have talked about this with even myself before I even started a podcast, before I took on this journey that I've been on the last 3 years. Because honestly, sometimes the podcasting has taken over my life. It demanded a lot more of me than I've wanted to give it. It's taken more of my bandwidth than I've had able to give it. And so it's really important to stay the course. So this one will honestly save your entire podcasting journey. Your podcast needs to fit your life, not fight it. So you need to answer these sub questions for question three. Is your podcast a hobby? Is it a passion project? Is it a platform? Is it a business tool? Or is this going to legacy project? Each one comes with a different level of expectation. Obviously, if it's a hobby, a couple hours a week, probably fine. If it's a passion project, you're gonna invest heavy time into it. If it's for business, you're gonna be investing a lot of time into your business because you need it to be successful, right? It needs to make money, generate income. And so at each level, it's gonna require a different level of commitment from yourself for your time that you have to make sure that you have available to work on this. And it's gonna also mean sacrifice. Early mornings, late nights, time on weekends, feeling stressed, like, oh man, I really need to edit, I really need to get this thing done. But that's okay. You can absolutely grow a meaningful show on 2 hours a week if you design it that way. But if you expect full-time results from a part-time commitment, that's when burnout hits. Your podcast will work when it works for your life. So decide the role now, not after you're stressed. And lastly, what happens when I get all these three questions right? When you answer the why am I starting, who am I talking to, and what role does this play in my life, everything else becomes easy. Your format makes sense, the schedule feels doable, the ideas flow, like Niagara Falls. Your episodes have direction. Your content feels aligned. Your growth becomes natural, not forced. And this is the foundation every great podcast is built on. And it's the part most beginners skip. But you are not going to skip it because you found this video, and you're going to share it with that friend of yours who also wants to start a podcast. That they're like, you should listen to this, bro, before you start a podcast. And you're going to start strong. And look, if you're going through these three questions and you're thinking, I know what I want to say, but I want someone to help me shape it, someone to guide me, stress test it for me, help me build it the right way from day one. That's literally what my podcast coaching program is for. I'm going to help you take your idea. We're going to turn it into a real sustainable show, one you can stick with, grow, and be proud of a year from now. So whether you join me or you don't join me, I want you to start with clarity. That's why I'm making these videos all month long. Clarity is what keeps your podcast alive long after the January motivation phase. And let's be real, how many of our New Year's resolutions actually stick after January? So if this helped you today, drop a comment telling me what's your why, who are you talking to? Like, I actually want to hear it. I'm going to respond, I'm going to engage with you, right? And if you're serious about launching in 2026, hit subscribe. I'm dropping new videos all month to help you build a podcast rooted in clarity, honesty, and direction. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.